Hey Smoothers, how's it going? In this video, I played through every level in Back 4 Blood in reverse. I did this to find every spot in the game that it stops you from going backwards, because I found some spots where someone would be getting grabbed and I just can't go back to get them. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to go through every level and find every spot that the game stops you from going back. I feel like this information's pretty good to know. So for the first level, you can actually run all the way from the end safe room back to the start safe room. Nothing is stopping you from doing that. On Tunnel of Blood, you can almost run from the end safe room back to the start, except at the very beginning of the level, after you exit the safe room, you have to jump off this broken balcony, and you cannot climb back up. I'm positive they made the game like this so that you can't hide in the safe room once the ogre spawns. So it's good game design. On the next level, Pain Train, we actually have two different spots where the game stops you from going backwards. The first spot is once you jump off this cliff. I went and pressed the button and then came back to try and see if I could go back up the waterfall cliff here, but I had no success. It almost looks like you should be able to climb up this, but you can't. I mean, you can try if you want, but I will warn you, the game gets mad at you if you do this. Because I was taking too long trying to climb up, the game just kept yelling at me to climb over the train car. Like, I think the game director thought I was lost. Once you actually climb over the train car, that's the second part of the level that it stops you from going backwards. You can't climb back over the train car once you're over it, so make sure you've looted everything you wanted to before getting over the train car, because you cannot go back. On the crossing, you can run all the way across the yacht and back to the safe room if you want. But I don't think the game likes this that much, because I did find Drax, the destroyer, just hiding, waiting for me on this bridge. I couldn't see him until it was too late. A clean sweep is actually an overall short level, and you can run from the end safe room back to the starting safe room. It's kind of weird. This level takes place in this very small area, but it takes a while because of all the waves, the breakers, and you have to save people. I did find, after pressing the button to open up the door to save the survivors, if you run back, you can see all the flashlights shining through the walls, and you can punch the people through the walls as well. Actually, you can see the flashlights on every single wall that the survivors are on. It's kind of weird. Bookworms is another level that you can run from the very end back to the start, but that's not what's interesting on this level. So the objective after you fortify the library is to find a way into the hotel, but that's not exactly accurate, because I found a way into the hotel and yet the game didn't care. What the objective really should say is you need to shoot the propane tanks, because they don't care if you're in the hotel or not. Those propanes need to be shot. I actually shot the propane tanks from inside the hotel. This game is a masterpiece. Also, did you know you can kill the survivors from the hotel? For some reason the game lets you just kill them, making this whole level a waste of time. When you shoot them, you get a green hit marker, but it is so buggy after they're dead. First of all, when they're dead, quotation marks, they stand back up, and then after a few seconds, they just fully disappear. I find it kind of odd that you can kill them at all, because many other survivors in this game, when you shoot them, nothing happens. They just flinch. So I don't really know why they allowed you to kill these ones, but I'm glad they do. Oh my gosh, this is a perfect time for me to ask you to subscribe. It's free. It's free. It's free. And it helps a lot, so thank you. At the start of the next level, if you shoot the survivors, you will get hit markers, but only on some of them, and it will act as if you are killing them, but nothing happens. Don't know why it's like this, but alright, I'll go with it. After you're done killing the survivors, you have to jump down the staircase, and that's the first part of this level that stops you from going backwards. And then you run across the road, and there's another area that stops you from going backwards when you jump over the fence. That was a cat. Special Delivery is a very short level, and to no surprise, you can run from the end to the start. The diner is different, however. Once you leave the shop and head over to the generator, the door to the building will actually close and you cannot go backwards anymore. You don't even need to start the generator. This is actually the reason why you need all teammates to be over by the generator before you can start it. It's because the game wants everyone to be in that area before it closes the garage. That way everyone's trapped by the diner. On the next level, Bad Seeds, there is nothing stopping you from running from the end all the way back to the start. Hell's Bells, however, does have two different sections. And what I assumed, and what maybe you're assuming too, is that once you head past the trailer that is flipped over, that's the part where you can't go backwards. However, with some fancy jumps, you can actually climb the mountain back up through the trailer. The real spot that you get blocked from going back is this other trailer, which I fully expected I'd be able to jump over. It totally looks like you can jump over it, but you cannot jump over it. So don't get grabbed on your way to this trailer if everyone is already by the tow truck, because you're screwed. Abandon has two spots that you can't go backwards. The first spot is after you kill the nodes in the house and jump over the railing. Surprisingly, you can't jump back inside, and that's why in the update they made it so you can start the tow truck without the bots, because it was very common for someone to get grabbed inside and then everyone had to wait outside until they died. It was quite annoying. And then the second area is once you run to the end of the road and then jump out of the burnt house, you can't go back inside. I tried jumping onto the roof. It almost seemed like I should be able to get back up with this fancy jump off the railing, but it is what it is. And then the last level of Act 1 is pretty obvious where you cannot backtrack. Once you head down the slide, you're not allowed to head back up. There isn't just no way. You can't even jump on these crates without doing a weird jump off of this ammo box. And when you do this, you actually can break the bots because they have no way of getting up there normally. So they all kind of just spawn within each other, completing their evolution. On to Act 2, a Call to Arms, you can run from the end back to the start, nothing is stopping you. Same thing with the handyman. Actually, on this level, the end safe room is probably the closest to the start safe room of any level in this game. Pipe cleaners is not the same at all. Right off the bat, to leave the safe room, you have to jump down into an area and you cannot go back. Moving on, you'll eventually get to a pipe that you have to slide down, and no surprise, you cannot climb back up it. In the next level, this one actually surprised me. I figured I'd be able to scale back up the waterfall, but you can't. Once you jump off this cliff, you can't go back up it, even though it totally looks like you should be allowed to climb this. Just saying. There's actually another surprise in this level. At the very end, when you destroy the final node and jump down into the area where the safe room is, there's a ladder for you to actually head back out. And I don't know why you would ever use this when the safe room is right there. Like, why would you want to leave? Especially if there's an ogre waiting outside. Only an idiot would do that. On Trailer Trash, if you truly wanted to, you could run all the way back through the level. Once you get to the boat, you do need to jump kind of to the side of it. It almost seems like they don't want you going backwards, but you can. On the clog, once you jump down off this top area, you can't jump back up. And surprisingly, I thought this was another section that was going to stop you from going backwards, but that's not the case. It's kind of finicky, but after you jump off this blue boat, you can go backwards if you kind of jump to the side of it. It's a little sketchy, but you can do it. So that's pretty cool. The Broken Bird, once you leave the safe room and jump down, you can't go back. But other than that, you can move around the whole map freely. This map is different because it's not as linear as some of the other ones. The next level is pretty short. You just kill an ogre, that's pretty much the whole level. So you can go from the end of it back to the start. The level after that, you can move around the map pretty freely, other than after leaving the library, you're not allowed to go back into it. This is obviously designed this way so that you can't cheese the ogre, but I would like to cheese the ogre. And then the last level of Act 2, you're basically just running around this one church. You can head back to the safe room after leaving it. There's no subsections in this level. On to Act 3. In this first level, you can run from the end back to the church. That's fine. But the interesting part of this level that I didn't know is you can start the harvester with a toolkit. It makes going through the cornfield a lot easier. Everything will just get mowed down by the harvester. It's pretty cool. They should do more stuff like this in levels. On Blazing Trails, you can go from the end back to the start. As long as you don't get lost like I did. I went down the hole and then back up the wrong set of stairs. Somehow didn't realize I was going back to the end of the level. In my defense, at this point, I was getting pretty tired. This was very late at night. In Cabins by the Lakes, you can run from the end to the start. You won't be able to use the ferry, but only losers use the ferry anyways, so it doesn't matter. Garden Party, if you can find your way back through the maze twice, then yes, you can run all the way back through the level. If a breaker spawns, it does make it a little more complicated, but nothing can stop me. I'm the box man. The mission T5, when you leave the safe room, go up the stairs from this one house, and then jump out of it, you can't head back. I even tried jumping the wall, which totally looks possible, but no sir. The next level, A Friend in Need, yes, you can run from the end back to the start. At this point, I'm getting sick of saying that. Making the grade, you can do the same thing from the end to the start. Hallelujah. On the next level, the game does try to stop you from going backwards, but they forgot I'm the box man. So I use the box to simply jump back over the truck. It's kind of funny that they try to stop you from going backwards and then conveniently put stuff beside the truck to help you go backwards. After finding this, my hopes were high that you could play this whole level in reverse. But what I was not expecting is after you start opening the gates towards the end of the level and then run back, the doors close behind you. And I was wondering, somebody should test this. I don't think you need everyone to be by the button when you start opening the gates. So it might be possible for someone to be on the other side of this door when you press the button, which could mean two things. Either that person's going to be locked on the other side of the door, or the door just won't close. Somebody test it out, let me know. I don't have friends, so I can't do it. But yeah, let me know in a comment. On the last level of Act 3, the body dump, once you jump off the cliff towards the start of the level, you can't go back. You're stuck in this area with all the nodes. Even though, once again, it totally looks like I should be allowed to climb this mountain. On to the last level of the game, the Abomination. After killing the 4 tentacles, it opens up a hole in the ground that you have to slide down. After entering, it almost looks like you can still climb back out of it with enough effort, and maybe if your jump button was like bound to your scroll wheel or something. Once you're finally down at the end of the slide and try to get back into it, it doesn't seem possible to actually start climbing back out. And then once I was at the bottom, I went down and I think I was gonna live forever. Mom thought she was the main character, would not pick me up, kept saying she had me, she would take care of me, but she would not. I think she still hasn't forgiven me from when I let her get eaten by my ex. So, you know, I guess fair is fair. But yeah, anyways, that's what happens if you try to play these levels in reverse. For the most part, a lot of the levels you can go back and play through the whole thing in reverse. I think it's good to know what levels have subsections in them and where they are, because you definitely do not want to be stuck on the backside of one if the rest of the team is already past it, because then you're screwed. I hope this video helped. I don't really know if it was supposed to be helpful. If you liked the video, hit like, comment what you'd like to see next, subscribe to support. We appreciate that a lot, and have a good one.